Okay. So today we are going to discuss a very important topic for Clat 2022 and Clat 2023. That is the recent Jammu Kashmir Delimitation Commission and the recommendation that it has made to the central government. As we all know, on 5th of August 2019, the central government, using the president power, has removed the Article 370 from the Indian Constitution, the provision of Article 370, and now the Constitution of India applies to the to the state of Jammu and Kashmir, and it was divided into two union territory, one consisting of Jammu and Kashmir and the other was Ladakh. So next, let's start with the first slide and understand that why the Delimitation Commission is in use. This is a theoretical topic. There is not much thing to make you understand, but we will be discussing all the thing that is important for your CLAT examination, what all points you should know when this passage come in your CLAT examination. So recently, the commission which was set up by the central government for the delimitation in the Jammu and Kashmir has submitted its report. As we all know, in the first week of May, they have submitted a report with all its recommendation to the central government. Okay, so the commission set up by the central government submitted its final report for the delimitation of the assembly and parliamentary constituency. Next slide. Now let's understand why the commission was set up. So as we all know that before 5th of August 2019, the Jammu Kashmir has its own flag, has its own constitution, and they were not governed according to our own constitution. They were having the Jammu Kashmir. They were having another act, that was the Jammu Kashmir Representation of the People Act for the states elections and assembly instead of our own elections act. And then they were not having our similar constitution. They were having their own flag, and everything was different from us according to Article 370 and the Article 35A, which granted special status to the state of Jammu Kashmir. However, in 2019, on 5th of August 2019, the central government, by the order of the president, brought the Jammu Kashmir Reorganization Act 2019. The name of the act is very important. So, Jammu Kashmir Reorganization Act 2019 was introduced in the parliament, and in a historical movement, the central government removed and scrapped the Article 370, which granted special protection to the state of Jammu Kashmir. So before this, before 5th of August 2019, when the Jammu Kashmir Reorganization Act 2019 was brought, before this, all the delimitation in the state of Jammu Kashmir and all its constituency was done according to the Jammu Kashmir Representation of People Act 1957. Because as I have already told you, that they had their separate constitution, they had their separate laws for most of the things. Similarly, they were not governed according to the India's common, that was the Representation of People Act. Instead, it was Jammu Kashmir Representation of People Act. Now you have to remember what was the previous ratio division of the seats and what is the present division of the seat. So before the 2019 and before this Delimitation Commission has submitted its report, the Jammu Kashmir state had 111 seats, in which 46 was in Kashmir, 37 in Jammu and 4 in Ladakh, plus the 24 seats in the Pakistan occupied Kashmir. There no elections are held. It is kept as it is after all the incidents of the POK incidents. It is kept as it is. No election are done to that areas. Only for the 46 in Kashmir, 37 in Jammu and 4 in Ladakh, elections are held. This is before the Delimitation Commission has submitted its report. Okay. Now after the Jammu Kashmir Reorganization Act 2019 was brought, okay, it came into force. The act itself told that there will be an increase in the number of seats in the assembly. Okay, there will be the increase in the number of seats in the assembly, as a result of which on 6th of March 2020, the date is very very important for you. The on 6th of March 2020, the Delimitation Commission was set up, and the commission was headed by the retired Supreme Court judge, that is Ranjana Prakash Desai, and then the Chief Election Commissioner. So can anybody tell me that who was the Chief Election Commission of the Delimitation Commission and who is the present Chief Election Commissioner? And then you have the, okay, very good. So that time it was Sushil Chandra, and who is the present? Very good, yeah. And then the Chief Electoral Officer of the Jammu and Kashmir, that is KK Sharma, along with other 5 MPs who were the associate member. The important thing you have to remember is the 3 constitution, that is the Ranjan Prakash Desai, who is the retired Supreme Court judge, the Chief Election Commissioner. That times he was Sushil Chandraji. Now as present he is Rajiv Kumarji. and then the Jammu Kashmir Chief Electoral Officer, that is KK Sharma ji. So this was the composition of the commission, which was set up on 6th of March 2020 to increase the number of seats in the union territory, because as of now it is a union territory. The Jammu Kashmir is a union territory. Next slide. So what is the recommendation of the commission? The commission recommended that there will be an increase in the of 6 seats in Jammu. Therefore, if there is an increase of 6 seats, now the Jammu will be having 43 seats, and one in the Kashmir, which will be taking it to 47. So the both the ratio you have to remember, the previous, before the Delimitation Commission has given its recommendation, and the present one, that is the 43 and 47 in Jammu and Kashmir. And the whole of Jammu and Kashmir is considered as a one union territory. This is very important. So as we all know, the Jammu Kashmir Reorganization Act 2019 has divided the state into two union territory. One was the Jammu and Kashmir, and the other was the Ladakh without the legislature. So this Delimitation Commission has also considered the union territory of Jammu and Kashmir as a single union territory, as a one single union territory. This is a general question you will be getting in the when you are having a comprehension based passages. Okay, you will be asked that which of the following is not true, and the one of the option will be that the Delimitation Commission has seen the Jammu and Kashmir as different union territory. No, the correct answer will be single union territory. And then the commission, this is very important, the commission has recommended that the central government should make provision for at least 2 members from the Kashmiri Pandit in the Legislative Assembly. Further, they have recommended that the central government should think that whether the people who were displaced from the Pakistan occupied Kashmir and after the partition who were migrated to Jammu should also be given a representation in the assembly. And the total number of seats that is reserved for the scheduled tribes for the first time in the Jammu and Kashmir Assembly is total of 9 seats. So as I have told you in the beginning, this is a very theoretical topic, but you have to know what is important for you to know in your Clat examination. So the recommendation is very important. You will be getting a direct comprehensive type of question. You will not be getting a single digit question. You will be asked a comprehensive question. Which of the following is true related to the recent recommendation of the Jammu Kashmir delimitation? So the number of seats has been increased to 43 and 47 respectively in Jammu and Kashmir. The whole of Jammu and Kashmir is considered as a one union territory, and then the commission has recommended that the central government should think of making a provision for the recommendation of 2 members from the Kashmiri migrant, that is the Kashmiri Pandit, and then representation should be there from the people who were displaced person from the Pakistan occupied Kashmir. And another thing is that there will be total of 9 seats that will be reserved for scheduled tribes, which had happened in first time in the history of Jammu Kashmir, that a total of 9 seats will be reserved for the scheduled tribe. I hope it is clear to everyone, Anuja, Ankit and everyone. Now let's move to the next slide. Okay, good. Now understand what is the meaning of delimitation. So Delimitation Commission is set up in Jammu Kashmir, has been set up, it has submitted its report. Definitely it will be going to be challenged, and whatever you have seen that it has been challenged, what is the response of the Supreme Court? Let's understand what is delimitation. So delimitation is the process when after every census, we all know what is census, we will be discussing it in the coming slides also. After every census, the boundary, whether the boundary of a particular legislative assembly or the parliamentary constituency has to be increased, decreased, altered, whatever has to be done, it is decided by the process of delimitation, for which a commission is set up. So one thing is very important, that this is done only after the census is done. After there is a change in population, the limit, the boundary of the constituency, whether it is legislative assembly or parliamentary constituency, the boundary is altered, and on the basis of the recent census. That is the meaning of the term delimitation. Next slide. Now, what is the constitutional provision? This is also another very important question for you guys, that where it is mentioned that there will be a delimitation done under the Indian Constitution. So according to Article 82 of the Indian Constitution, it is very clearly mentioned in the Article 82 of the Indian Constitution that after every census of the country, so can anybody tell me after how many years census is conducted? Very good. So Ankit was I guess thinking that I will be asking the same question. So he has already typed. So after every census, the Parliament will enact the Delimitation Act. The Delimitation Commission will be set up according to Article 82, which will be an independent body and which will be appointed by the President, consisting of three persons: the retired Supreme Court judge, the Chief Election Commission, and the Election Commission, Chief Election Commission of that particular state. Okay, so the article 82 is very important for you to know that it is article 82 which states that there will be a delimitation after every census, and an independent body which is known as the Delimitation Commission will be constituted for the same after every census. And then another important thing is that you have to know is that it is a article 170 is also important, in which the states are also classified into various constituency for the census, because it is not only the parliamentary constituency whose boundaries are altered or changed, increase or decrease, even that of the states, whether any of the states. Okay, so how many present states and union territory are there, guys, in India? So either of the any states might, because of the change in the population, their boundaries may be altered by the central government. This is very important. According to Article 82, it is the Parliament which will be enacting the Delimitation Act. Yeah, very good. 28 union territories and 28 state and 8 union territories. Okay, good. So this is the process of delimitation. Constitutional provision is very important. Article 82 and Article 170. It is the central government which set up the Delimitation Commission. This is also important point to mention. Next slide. So as I've told you, it is the Delimitation Commission is set up by the Parliament, which is appointed by the President, and it consists of a retired Supreme Court judge, the Chief Election Commission, and the State Election Commissioner of the respective state. These are all important points. Nothing new to explain to you guys. You just have to make notes on the same and have a knowledge about all this, because you will be getting direct comprehensive based question on all these sentences. Mark my words. Okay, so it is a body which is set up by the Parliament, appointed by the President, and the commission consists of the retired Supreme Court judge, Chief Election Commission, and the State Election Commission of that particular respective state. Okay, so you have to, as of now, remember only the State Election Commission of Jammu and Kashmir. And who is he? Anyone? Let me know in the chat box. Who is the State Election Commission of Jammu and Kashmir? Very good. Next slide. Finish. Now let's understand the delimitation history. This is very important. The first delimitation of the country was held in 1950-1951. Okay, and the act was passed in 1952. Now you have to remember the 4 year in which the Delimitation Commission has been set up. This is very important question. In which of the following year no delimitation has been taken place in India? Direct question. Okay, you will be getting a direct question that in which of the following year there was no delimitation in the country. Now the 4 important years are very important: 1952, 1963, 1972, 2002. These are the 4 years after which the Delimitation Commission was set up. Under which article, Kinjra? Under which article the Delimitation Commission was set up? Yeah, very good. Under Article 82. Okay, now another thing is important, that after the 1991 census and the 1981 census, no Delimitation Commission was set up. So first thing you have to remember, the first delimitation of exercise of India was conducted in the year 1950-1951. The first Delimitation Act was passed in 1952. The 4 year in which Delimitation Commission was set up is 1952, 1963, 1972 and 2002. And after the census, because just now in the previous slides we discussed, guys, that after every census the delimitation will be there. However, in the year 1991 and 1981, in the 2 year respective year, there was no commission that was set up. So this is also very important for Clat. And then in 2001, another very important thing was marked, that is by the 91st Amendment Act in 2001, the delimitation was frozen up to 2026. So whose government was in 2001? Anybody can let me know who was the Prime Minister of the country in 2001, or whose government was that time? Let me know in the chat box. So the 4 delimitation, yeah, very good. The 4 delimitation you have to remember the year in which no delimitation was done, and then in 2001 by the 91st Amendment. So guys, you will be getting comprehensive question. Lot of comprehensive question can be made from this topic. Okay, so by the 91st Amendment till 2026. So still we are in 2022. Till 2026, the delimitation was frozen by the 91st Amendment Act of the Parliament. The same thing was done in Jammu and Kashmir. That is the controversy that was with the delimitation that happened recently. Okay, am I clear to everyone? This with this slide, the first delimitation, the fourth delimitation commission, when no commission was scheduled, and then it has been frozen till 2026 by the 91st Amendment Act. Okay, next slide. So now, as I have mentioned that why the exercise have been controversial. So similarly, just like in 2001, the Atal Bihari Vajpayee's government, by the 91st Amendment, the delimitation was frozen for up to 2026. In 2002, the then Jammu Kashmir government has also amended the Jammu Kashmir Representation of People Act. Just in the first slide, guys, I mentioned that before the August 5th, 2019, before the Article 370 was scrapped from Jammu Kashmir, they had their own Jammu Kashmir Representation of People Act, not like ours, that was in the whole of India. So there was an amendment which was made to the Jammu Kashmir Representation of People Act in 2002, and there also the delimitation exercise was frozen up to 2026 according to the rest of the country. Okay, so the last delimitation exercise in Jammu Kashmir was carried in 1995, and in India, when was the last delimitation exercise was done, guys? Good, very good. So the last delimitation exercise in Jammu Kashmir was carried out in 1995, and then in 2002 it was frozen up to 2026, which was challenged in the Jammu Kashmir High Court and then the Supreme Court, which was upheld. Still, by the power of the president, Article 370 was scrapped. Article 370 is being challenged in the Supreme Court, and recently the Delimitation Commission was also challenged. Can anybody tell me what was the Supreme Court response? The prima facie response of the Supreme Court. Anyone? If you're not able to type, you can unmute also. What was the recent response of the Supreme Court when the recent delimitation was challenged? Anyone? I will get back to you. Okay. So the freezing up to 2026 was also challenged in the Jammu Kashmir High Court and then the Supreme Court, but it was upheld by the Supreme Court. So this is the controversy related to the Delimitation Commission which was set up recently, that since it was frozen up to 2026, why did the government organize a delimitation? Okay, next slide. So latest update, this is very important. So now you don't think that there is recommendation already on 28th of May. This is very important, guys. Read the second paragraph. The panel's two order, one issued on 14th March that dealt with the number of constituency reserved for various category, and the second one of May 5 dealt with the size of each constituency, will come into force together from 20th of May. That means from 20th of May 2022. This date is very important for you guys. The two recommendation of the Jammu Kashmir Delimitation Commission is already being enforced. Generally, you get the question in Clat that on from which date the recommendation will be enforced. It is 20th of May 2022. So, what is the number of seats as of now? Anyone? What is the number of seats according to the recent Delimitation Commission? In Jammu and Kashmir? 43 in Jammu, 47 in Kashmir. Okay. Yeah, good. Very good. So this is the two order of the Delimitation Commission has already been executed. Okay. Now let's move to the next slide and understand some important topics. So definitely when you are having any important topic, you have to go to the past of that topic and everything related to topic. That is the way how you make notes for any important topic. So we have to understand census of our country. What is census according to India? Census is the collection of the data from various aspects. Now in the latest census, when many things has been increased, okay, for the better planning and the development of the country, which is conducted after every 10 year, and it is done according to the Census Act 1948. So as I have already told, this is a very theoretical topic. So there is not much to explain to you, but you have to make notes of all this because this all are related to the Delimitation Commission. So census is done according to the Census Act 1942, which is done after every 10 years. Okay. Now two important point is mentioned. The first census of India, the whole of India, was done by Lord Mayo in 1872, while that of an Indian city, that is Decca, okay, it was held in 1830 by Henry Walter. These are all very important point. I hope my speed is okay and you are able to write it up in your notebook, that the first census of India was done in 1872 by Lord Mayo, and the first complete census of Indian city. There is a distinction between the two guys. First Indian city census was done in 1830 by Henry Walter, and that of the complete India was done in 1872 by Lord Mayo, and it is done according to the Census Act 1948. Next slide. Now, after census, we have to understand Article 370. So, in a historical move on 5th of August 2019, the present government with the presidential order scrapped Article 370 provision, which granted special power to the whole of Jammu Kashmir, that they will be having their separate constitution, separate flag, and everything was separate. Our acts were not allowed there, and there were different restrictions that we all know. Okay, however, Article 370 was a temporary, transitional, and special provision of our constitution, which was removed by the central government. So, Article 370 is a so the key feature of Article 370 was that the central laws, okay, passed by the parliament did not automatically apply to the state of Jammu Kashmir, and it was the right of the state legislature to approve them by passing a parallel act. So guys, if I take an example that today, for example, if the Article 370 was not scrapped and the farm law was brought in the country, or any other act was brought, so whether it would be applied to Jammu and Kashmir or not, if Article 370 was not scrapped? No. Okay, what will be the state government doing? The state government of Jammu Kashmir, that time it was state legislature, the state government of Jammu Kashmir will bring a parallel act, not the same act. They will not approve. Okay, this is the distinction. They will not approve that the state will follow the farm law. No, they will not approve. They will bring a parallel act. Just we have the Representation of People Act 1951. They have Jammu Kashmir Representation of People Act. Similarly, they will be bringing the Jammu Kashmir Farm Laws 2021-2022 if Article 370 would not have been scrapped. But the special status was a temporary, transitional, and special provision which was removed on 5th of August 2019, and the restriction which was imposed, okay, on the parliament on the central laws has been removed. So we are all now having the similar laws and constitution. Okay, next slide. So 5th of August 2019, the name of the act is very important. Constitution Application to Jammu and Kashmir Order 2019. The name of the act is very important, guys. Okay, on 5th of August 2019, the president promulgated the order, and the provision of the Article 370 was scrapped, and the special status to Jammu Kashmir was removed and superseded the Constitution Application to Jammu Kashmir Order 1954. The two acts are very important for you guys to remember. The first is the Constitution Application to Jammu Kashmir Order 2019. It has scrapped or it has superseded the Constitution Application to Jammu Kashmir Order 1954, and then the order of the 2019, it bifurcated the state of Jammu Kashmir into two separate union territory, that is Jammu and Kashmir, which will be having a legislature, and Ladakh, which will be without a legislature. So Jammu Kashmir with legislature. Name a similar union territory. Name a something similar to Jammu Kashmir with legislature. Very good. Okay. So whether Delhi is a state or union territory, is it clear to anyone? Okay. What is the provision of Delhi, guys? Under which provision Delhi is known as National Capital Territory of Delhi? If you remember our previous classes, I hope you will not be remembering. I'm sure now. 235 AA. Okay, so the special, that is the NCT of Delhi. We call it as the NCT of Delhi. So it is similar to the Delhi with the legislature of the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir. So this is a removal of Article 370 and 35A. 35A gives the special power to the state of Jammu Kashmir related to the next slide, Ganesh, related to the permanent residence of people. Okay, whether before the removal of Article 370, can Aviraj go and buy property in Jammu Kashmir? Or Ankit go and buy property in Jammu Kashmir? No, but after the removal of this, now Aviraj, even Kijla can go and buy a property in Jammu Kashmir. However, the jurisdiction of the Supreme Court was still there, guys. Don't think that the jurisdiction of Supreme Court was not there. But the thing was that our central laws did not apply there. Buying of the property was very difficult, and for everything they were having a parallel laws. They were not having our central laws. They were having a parallel laws. And this is very important point that is mentioned for the order of 1954, that is central government was given the power to declare national emergency in case of external aggression However, for the internal disturbance, it will be exercised only with the concurrence of the state government. So, under which article of the Indian Constitution emergency can be declared? Let me see. Which article of the Indian Constitution talks about the national emergency, state emergency, financial emergency? Very good, Ankit. 352 is the national emergency. Yeah, good. Then state emergency is 356. Yeah, good. And then the financial emergency is 360. So, did we have any financial emergency in the country till now? Till 2022? No. Good. So, for the national emergency, it will be the central government who will be having the power just as it is having for the rest of the country. But for the internal disturbance, okay, for the case of internal disturbance, what are the three issues in which the emergency can be declared? Two are already mentioned: external aggression and internal disturbance. What is the third one? What are the 3 points which is mentioned in the article 352 after the amendment in which an emergency can be declared? So for the internal disturbance, it will be for the concurrence of the state government. Armed rebellion, yeah, it has been amended and now it is known as armed rebellion. Very good. Your constitution is very good, everyone. Not only Ankit, everyone. So this was the constitution application to Jammu Kashmir Order 1954, which states that the permanent residency for the movable and immovable property, the jurisdiction of the Supreme Court, and then in cases of emergency, who will having the power. Okay. How many times national emergency has been declared, guys, in our country? Next slide, finish. Good. 3 times. So Article 35A is the special power of the Presidential Order in 1954, which gives the special power to the uh, state of Jammu Kashmir with exception to the Constitution of India. This must only you have to know that Article 35A is the special power that is given to the Jammu and Kashmir with making exception to our own Constitution of India. Next slide. Now let's understand what is the current status of Article 370 that was struck down by the which was scrapped by the central government. So 23 petitions have been challenged related to this for the Jammu Kashmir Reorganization Act 2019, but still the Supreme Court has not taken up the matter. Definitely Supreme Court will be taking. It is a constitutional matter, so it takes time, definitely. So a bench has to be decided. The Chief Justice will decide the bench. Who is the Chief Justice of India, guys? So the Chief Justice will decide the bench, and then definitely the matter will be taken. But as of now, all the petition has been challenged. Yeah, N.V. Ramana ji is the Chief Justice of India as of now. Okay, and by which year we are expecting to have a woman Chief Justice of India? By which year? So the petition has been challenged. Now, no, there is nothing. 2028, 2027. 2027 is the correct answer. Okay, yeah, 2027. By 2027, we'll be getting. If the same procedure continues according to the collegium system and the appointment of the senior most judge of the Supreme Court. So the petition is being challenged in Supreme Court, but the Supreme Court has not come up with any judgment still. And if we talk about the Delimitation Commission, I have asked you people, anybody has Googled till now? If not, I am telling you the response. The delimitation petition which was challenged, Supreme Court has told that why did you not came for the last 2 years? So the on which date the Delimitation Commission was set up, Ankit? On which date the Delimitation Commission for Jammu Kashmir was set up? Anyone? Ankit, Kinjla, Anuja, anyone? 6 March. Okay, very good. So on 6 March 2020, the Delimitation Commission was set up. The Supreme Court objected and stated that why did you not objected for the same for the last 2 years? Now when the report has been submitted, the central government is going to enforce it. At this point, you are challenging the delimitation petition. You are filing a petition for the challenge of the Delimitation Commission. Okay, so these are the two current status. Article 370, Supreme Court is not hearing as of now, but the petition has been there. For the Delimitation Commission, the Supreme Court had stated that it will be that you should had made objection before. You had 2 years of time, a span of 2 years when it was made, when the commission was set up on 6th of March 2020. You did not came. Now when the commission has submitted its report, you are here. So let's see what will happen. That's all, guys. I guess next slide. I guess it is done. Yeah, this is all what you have to remember for the delimitation thing. That's all, guys. Thank you.